Welcome to Sociology In, a series of short podcasts on sociologies in different countries and regions of the world. I am Bondana Purkeasta, International Sociological Association, or ISA's Vice President for National Associations. I'm located at the University of Connecticut, USA, where I'm a professor of sociology. I want to promote these short introductions to enhance what we know about sociologies in different countries. We all hope to enrich our teaching and research based on what we continue to learn from our colleagues around the world. Thank you. In this episode, you will hear from Professor Sari Hanafi on sociologies in the Arab world. A past president of ISA, Professor Hanafi has been a key architect in introducing us to sociological scholarship and scholars from different countries in the Arab world. He is located at the American University in Beirut, Lebanon. Here is Professor Sari Hanafi.
Let me start by saying that there is a specificity in the Arab world concerning knowledge production in social sciences in general and particularly in sociology. Almost all this region is under authoritarian regimes. So again, I don't believe that if we are in an authoritarian regime, we cannot produce knowledge. Of course, we can produce knowledge and resist authoritarianism in different ways. So, but this is really, I wanted to highlight this big challenge in the Arab world, and that most of Department of Sociology is in the national universities. It means that who influence the decision about research, etc., is the state. And here, why I said being under authoritarian state is very important. And then, when we talk about the Arab world, in fact, it is a region where I think, in terms of sociological production, I would say it's a three sub regions. The North Africa, so Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, if you like, Libya and Mauritania, but the Middle East, including Egypt, which is in Africa, but it's more like Syria, Iraq, and Jordan, Palestine, and you have the Gulf countries. Qatar, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, and United Arab Emirates. If you like, the characteristics of sociology in North Africa, that it's under influence of French sociology. So it's more, if you like, the fact that the North African, the Moroccan, the Algerian, etc., they know French. You had a sociology which really, what I call it, a local. It means that open to the global, but has some local features. In the Middle East, I would say it's less balanced, this relationship between global and local. And in the Gulf, it's, I would say in the Gulf, in terms of the local, is like the Middle East. So this will impact I would say, how sociology will converse with northern knowledge production in terms of theory or other. Now, sociology, in fact, is a very important in the Arab world. It means that they went into a domain where influence social movements, but also if you like, more sociology that deal with the modernization project, often led by the state. We should remember that the independence of the Arab countries like India, like in many of former colonial states, it was in the 50s, between 50s and 60s. So the state took the lead of the modernization project, and sociology play a role in, if you like, smoothing this project. However, it come not without a price. The price is less critical, if you like. So I would say the major issue at stake today in sociology is not only how to deal with the authoritarian state, but also with authoritarian society. What the meaning of authoritarian society? It means that you have certain elite formation that they will force their conception of justice and of the good on society, whether they come from a religious background, I mean, a religious elite, and sometimes leftist elite. Religious elite, I think it's very important to say that historically they felt that the emergence of sociology come with the colonial project, which is true. I mean, the first departments in Algeria, in Morocco, the first sociologists there, they are French, for instance, and if you look to the sociology in Egypt, it's under the influence of American English sociology and the French sociology. So there is a question of legitimacy of Arab sociology, and the religious elite took this grasped occasion to undermine the legitimacy of it. But in fact, you have in the other side of the coin, you have a leftist group so influential in Department of Sociology, who espouses a very hard line secularism à la française, what we call it. It means that really, which is a civil religion against other religion. And it become, sociology at a certain point become not only part of solution, but also part of problem. Certain type of sociology, if you like. So this is a nutshell to show you that, in fact, really there is a different trends, but grosso modo, I would say sociology has been really extremely instrumental for Arab societies.
Thank you. That was a very nice way for us to move into the next question, which is about the history of the discipline in this region.
Yeah. Look, I will quote a Tunisian sociologist, his name Abdel Wahab Bouhdiba, who once said, there is no sociology but sociology of development. This is really to say, look, we are here to help, if you like, the stakeholders. But in that time, I am talking in 50s when sociology emerged. In that time, is the state the major stakeholder. So it become like in fact how to help the state in its developmental project. So it started very related to labor, very related to the choice of technology. So the state will advance in modernization project, what I mean by modernization, not only factories and organizing land claiming and agriculture sectors, but also in terms of culture, in terms of how schools, public transportation, and so on. So this is where, if you like, sociology emerged as uncritical sociology, I would say, and smoothly moved to be more critical. And I would say the climax of this, we see it in the Arab Spring. Just to remind our audience that started from late 2010, the Tunisian uprising, toppling down Zainuddin al-Abidin, the Tunisian former president, and then it was Egypt, Libya, Syria, Tunisia, Bahrain, etc. So it was a 10 years of really very important attempt to for a transition to democracy. But if you like, unfortunately, I would say the Arab uprising failed politically, but not cognitively. And what I mean by cognitively, it's liberate many people, many young scholars. I forgot to talk about women rights, and I think sociology has been extremely instrumental to accompany human rights organization, women organization, to raise their, if you like, a claim, to accompany their advocacy and activism by knowledge produced in the Arab world, including, if you like, an institute of women studies, for instance. We have, which really was very important to mainstream, if you like, gender studies. This is not to isolate it, the contrary, is to mainstream it, to say, to send a big message that we cannot study any social phenomenon without that. So I go back that the climax was in the Arab uprising, where I study personally how Tunisian sociologists went not only to the street as activists, but really as extensive writing. I do remember Munir Saidani, our colleague in ISA, but other Tahir Labib and other who wrote extensively to accompany the uprisings. It means that to rationalize it, to bring really knowledge about, to smoothen the process of social movement. So in a nutshell, I would say now today we are much more critical sociology today than before, and we have more scholars engaged, sometimes in private universities, sometimes in national universities, really heroes that at the expense of their marginalization, and sometimes from the Arab diaspora. And the Arab diaspora is really very important. I would say we have this phenomenon of Arab diaspora, exactly like Indian diaspora, like Chinese diaspora, that is the knowledge and about China, about India, about the Arab world is heavily driven also by scholars who migrate, sometimes because of academic freedom, and sometimes they migrate only because of the economic situations. Yeah.
Thank you. That actually introduces another whole dimension of what a world is. It's not just the local region, but you just included a real world with other people who are actors and players and people who interact with these streams of knowledge. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit specifically about sociology's contribution to society, thinking again with the background of the Arab world. And yes.
Contributing to what? Sorry.
To society in general. Our discipline, why is it, or if it is important to society?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, as I said, it's a good chunk of sociology is about a question of development, about a question of social change, including human rights, including women rights. But I would say sociology also was, particularly political sociology, was very sensitive to the question of colonization. And if you like, it's very interesting how this movement of post-colonial studies started from universities in United States and not in the Arab world and then in Europe and they come to us. And I would say sometimes this movement of taking conscience of the colonial fact and dependency sometimes take a pathological term, I would say. I will give example. For instance, I noticed some of post-colonial scholars, particularly in the Arab world, they don't pay sufficiently attention to local factors. For instance, you don't understand, if you like, if we take the case of Syrian uprising, if you like, the president Bashar al-Assad is historically against the West, but he is a very authoritarian, and some would started to defend him because he is anti-imperialist. But what about his authoritarianism? So you see, this kind of problem we face with post-colonial sociology. But I would say this pathologies we find it in the fringe, but still post-colonial sociology is extremely important. And the call even for decolonization of decolonial sociology has a specific meaning, I think important meaning, but of course, as far as we don't do as analysis of them and us, and we dwell on this. You know, Bandana, you are a sociologist of the human rights. I read you. I use your work, and I cannot tell you, for instance, how today some of the debate about human rights is harmful when we say because the West took a position in favor of genocide in Gaza, that we don't want to deal with them. They are a liar. There is nothing universal in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So I really struggle, including among my students. I mean, against some of my students to say, wait a minute, we should not throw the baby with the water bath, with the dirty water bath, and a universal declaration, the universality of human rights is really important. As far as we don't consider everything universal, it's universal in abstract way. It's not in concrete way. So we need to draw a line, if you like, where you have Indian human rights system, Lebanese one, Tunisian one, Syrian one, but in the same time you have Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Yeah. So if you like, this is now the major debate in the Arab world after this. What we saw is a heavy bias of the West, and I think what also I argue with my students is the referentiality. I mean, I am historically we should admit that the West has always been bias against colonized people. It means that Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948, but if you see how the French dealt with the Algerian, is nothing to do with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It's something you find. You find it's a real impact in France, but not in Algiers, not in Oran, not in any Algerian city. So we should, if you like, disentangle human rights to different dimensions and showing that some dimensions the West has been systematically biased. And I do remember your writing in the handbook of human rights forthcoming that you insist on this and I think this is, if we want to save university of human rights, we should accept that certain dimension in the West is a bias. I need to learn from my Indian friends, from South African friends, from Chilean friends, and not from American and the French and German. Here, this is a way, if you like, this is a kind of a major debate in the Arab world. So I grasp your last question, to show you where is the major issue, hot potato issue nowadays.
No, that was absolutely fascinating. And then I think my last question, not I think, I know my last question, and you can interpret it in any way you wish. What are the major issues that you might want to highlight for our audience thinking about the region? And you can define that any way you wish.
Well, I think, if you like, if you look to the knowledge production in the Arab world in sociology, you find really we deal with all different aspects, including, if you like, the current approach, feminist approach, intersectionality, for instance, Marxist, functional. We have a different approach and knowledge production in different domains. But I would say today the question of colonization and democracy is really one of the major issues at stake. And sociology is dealing with this in maneuvering in a very muddy water. Some of my colleagues face prison, others face marginalization in their university. But I would say really where is an important knowledge production, if you like, that challenging, if you like, this authoritarian context. So here where I put, maybe also I would argue that more and more sociology is aware about the importance of women rights, gender rights, if you like. It's the question of gender diversity, for instance, sexuality, sexual diversity. This is a new domains in the Arab sociology that also is not easy to write about this, but I would say I would praise what is going on now. I should say that what is new in the region, Bandana, in the last 10 years is that we have the Arab Council for Social Science. And this is something really organized, a kind of where is missing topic that need to be tackled, training young researchers, etc. It's a very important, and it's exactly like the one in Latin America, one in United States, for instance. You have this is very important, and this is which make sociology leap, if you like, today, thanks to this organizing effort of the Arab Council for Social Science.
Thank you. Are there any last thoughts you'd like to add? or is that sufficient?
I would say the Arab world is really now very sensitive to the debate about the global South, global North, and wanted to have a more balanced knowledge production. I would say the Arab world are calling the ISA, the International Sociological Association, to be more empowering global South, marginalized sociologies. I would say this is, and I mentioned this. Maybe this is the occasion just to say that I know under your leadership as a VP of National Associations, you're free players. As a president, Alison, as a VP of research, you are all on this spirit, if you like, Marta Solar on publication that really you want to empower this global South, and I would say this is really very important.
This concludes the current session of the series Sociology in Different Countries and Regions of the World, inspired by the work being done by the International Sociological Association. Since we are all trying to get beyond a few dominant strands of Western scholarship on our discipline, I hope this session will encourage you to find out more about scholars and scholarship in other parts of the regions and countries in the world, because together we make up the diversity of global scholarship. Signing off, this is Bondanupur Kayastha, Vice President, ISA.